Well, hey everybody. Welcome to the update preview stream. This is Bugs here. I'm joined today by Artemis and Miss D. Say hi, guys.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, hello.
So, what do we got going on this week? Well, we are on the main staging branch and we are 1 week away from the big update and forced wipe. And boy, is there a lot to show off here on the staging branch. As always, we're going to go through what is going on in development, show off what we can, and as always, answer as many questions as we get the chance to. And if you have any questions, please do at Miss D underscore that's me in chat so we have the opportunity to see them. And real quick, before we get into all the stuff going on in development, what is going on with wipes? Well, for Rustafied servers, it is the weekly Thursday wipe servers that are wiping today. So that's your mains, your smalls, your solos, Zen Labs, and the like. Now they wipe at regular scheduled time, which is 3 p.m. local time for the region. And that means EU wiped 2 hours ago, AU and SEA wiped like 12 something hours ago. And the US servers will wipe in 2 hours at 3 p.m. EST. These are map wipes only, as we are 1 week from the update and forced wipe. And on the forced wipe, along with the map wipe, many Rustified servers do choose to wipe blueprints, with the exception of medium threes, long threes, and Zen Labs. So keep that in mind. So, what do we have going on over on staging? Where to even begin? A whole bunch of stuff got merged in. We've got monument changes to harbor, to oil rig. We've got the cargo ship event that's now interacting with the harbors. We don't know how to spawn that, how to like cause that to just happen. So we're waiting for the cargo ship to just show up and hoping it does show up sometime in the next hour so we can show off the event. But when we try to spawn in a test cargo ship, it doesn't do the thing that the normal cargo ship does. So at any point, if we see the cargo ship pop up, we might have to go over and check that out wherever we are. But other than that, there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's a new minigun, there's a new tool cupboard skin that shows off some stuff, and there's even some updates and improvements to anti cheat, which I'm really excited about. So let's get into it. First and foremost, we've got, I'll just go with the order I got on my article, which is the Bradley Scientists. Now, this is a new part of the Bradley event. It looks like it will be taking place not only on launch site, but also, I do believe, and we haven't confirmed this yet, but I do believe at the end of server events when Bradley spawn around the map, it will also be the case for those Bradleys. But long and short, how this works is the Bradley is going to be roaming around like normal around the launch site, as you would expect. And then once you engage it and actually volley a couple rockets at it and do enough damage to it, then what you're going to see is four NPC scientists pop out of a big puff of smoke. So there'll be a big puff of smoke once it's been damaged enough. I think it was like four rockets or something like
4
that. That was
HPs, yeah, at the minute.
yeah. And once you get the direct hit on all four of those, then you'll see a big puff of smoke, and four blue scientist NPCs will be popping out of there. And you're going to have to kill them as well as the Bradley. So this does make the Bradley event a little more complicated to counter and to take Bradley out, as you are going to have not just the Bradley shooting at you, but also four blue NPC scientists, as we can see here. But yeah, you can take out the four blue scientists and the Bradley. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that much harder. And to help you, maybe you could take out the new minigun, which I think I'll touch on right now. It's a little farther down on my article, but let's touch on this minigun
I
because it
can
just got
resist.
merged
I'm
in
sorry.
today. Yeah. No, how could you? How could you? So there's a minigun in the game now, and it's still a work in progress. We don't know the finalized crafting stats or if you're even going to be able to craft it. We don't know how you're going to get it. And it seems like, well, just that. It's very much a work in progress. But what we are seeing with this minigun is it's, as you would expect, a big ass minigun. It also comes with its own ammo backpack, and I believe that ammo backpack is going to be required to reload it. So when we spawn in the minigun now, it has 300 rounds included in it, like in the mag, so to speak. I guess that would be how that would be called. And then what you're going to need to do is put more 5.56 ammo in that minigun ammo backpack. The reloading is not working for us now. No matter what ammo we put in the backpack, it's not reloading. So we just need to spawn in a new minigun to get more ammo. And literally, this got merged in just a couple hours ago. So, again, very much work in progress. But the idea is you'll have an ammo backpack and the minigun. You'll fill up the ammo backpack with various types of 5.56, is what it appears to be using. And then to fire the minigun, you hold down right click, which starts the barrel spinning, and then you hold left click to start those bullets flying out of there. And boy, do those bullets fly out of there pretty quick. And I don't know, Artemis, what are you seeing as far as accuracy, recoil, and things like that? What's your sense of that?
At the moment, this thing is a beast. So accuracy from like 200 meters plus is pretty dead on. There's not much recoil, not much drop, but I'm thinking maybe it's just a placeholder for now. But if it isn't, then this thing is insane.
Yeah, and now I do want to say because a lot of people have a tendency to hop into the doomsdayer mode here when a new item, especially a contrarian new item is added. People are very quick to say, "Oh, this thing is the end of the game. This is the thing that's going to kill the game." And this is the thing that's going to kill solos playing, and this is the thing that's going to kill online rating. And it's not to say that your point of view is totally invalid, but I, over my 10 years of watching Rust development, have learned to kind of not put the cart before the horse here and really trust the devs that, it may not be something that a lot of people want to see in the game, but it is something that I think is very interesting to people. But beyond all that, the interest and everything like that, given what this gun is looking like, I think it's going to be a very high level gun to get. It's going to be something that's out of reach for a lot of players. I think it's something that we probably won't see very often in the game. And furthermore, we don't have any finalized information on how it's actually going to enter the game. It's very much just on staging in a work in progress state. Once again, reload's not working. The ammo backpack doesn't have an icon or anything. There's still a lot to go. Also, it is on the crafting menu, but it has the crafting cost of the HMLMG and seems to be a just a copy of that item at the moment, which is very common when we see a new item come into the game. What they'll do is they'll duplicate an existing item that's close enough, and then they'll modify that duplicated item to create this new item. And so we seem to be about somewhere halfway through that process at the moment. But it's definitely a new, interesting gun to enter the game. It is quite the beast. It has quite a high fire rate. I have no idea how many bullets per minute we'd be looking at here, but I don't know, Artemis. If you had to guess, how many bullets would you say per minute?
Oh geez. Let's have a look.
I mean, at least 300, right? Because it's like,
Oh hell yeah, yeah, more than that I would say. Yeah,
and then
maybe double.
yeah, and then depending on reload time, because that's another thing. Reload isn't working, so we can't see how much time it takes to reload. I imagine that's not going to be a very fast process, but it's a beast at the moment. It's definitely a force to be reckoned with, and it is apparently coming in with the update next week, as Alistair just yesterday did a tweet or a post on X saying and confirming what the new things coming in next week, including the harbor monument changes, the cargo ship event, the oil rig changes, which we'll go through, and the minigun and the new tool cupboard skin. So it's all to say there is a good amount of new stuff coming in for the update next week. And it looks like this minigun is one of those items. So we'll keep you posted as more comes to light on this. And my plan, as always, is for the article on rustified.com next week that summarizes everything going on in the update. The goal is to have all the information you as a player need to know about not only the minigun, but all this stuff prior to it coming in the game. So, yeah, we'll keep you posted on that. While we're over here at Oil Rig, might as well go into that and look at the new changes to the oil rigs. Now, the thing with this is mainly it's a new point of ingress, which is underwater. So, what they did was they took the moon pools that you see in the underwater labs and they added them to the bottom of both oil rigs. And then once you got there is once you enter the moon pool, is there's like a tube to go up basically, and you go up this tube vertically, climbing up a ladder, and that tube has various different levels. And so what you can do is go up one or two levels of the ladder, and then you're at there's an exit to get off right at the water line basically, and then you can go up even further and get off at level 3 of the oil rig. So it's a new way to get into the oil rig without potentially being seen. You know, you could take a sub from far out, and there could be people on the oil rig that wouldn't even know you're coming. So it's a cool new point of ingress for that oil rig. You want to be careful because once you get off at level 3, there are active NPCs roaming around at that point. So you're going to want to be able to engage immediately. But this is a cool new addition to the oil rigs and a new point of ingress specifically. So it does look like these oil rig changes are coming in the update next week. And so, yeah, soon you'll have moon pools at an oil rig near you. Now, also, what we got going on is the new harbor, which I figure we'll go and show off, and hopefully the cargo ship decides to make an appearance sometime soon here. If anyone in chat has any idea, if you've been testing this yourself and you have any idea how to have the cargo ship just show up, that would be awesome. I'm all ears. We've tried everything we could think of, and there is like a command to spawn a test cargo ship, but it doesn't do anything. But the long and short basically is there's basically just a new layout to the harbor, as we can see. There's some more cranes, and they kind of bifurcated, split up the harbor for this cargo ship to come right in. And what happens is when the cargo ship spawns on the map, then it will quickly make its way to one of the two harbors. And I haven't had a chance to watch this whole thing go down, but I believe it's loading some cargo at the first harbor, and then I believe it's going to unload that cargo at the second harbor, and then that will be the end of the cargo ship event. But we're going to get some more details on that in the coming week prior to the update. But basically, what happens is the cargo ship comes in. There's this bridge in front of the cargo ship that will swing open as the cargo ship approaches. And then it docks there for about 8 minutes. And during that 8 minutes, what you got going on is the cranes start automatically loading some of these red cargo container crates onto the ship. And these red crates around can actually be opened and closed. And so a player technically could, when they see the cargo ship approaching, they could hide in one of these red crates and wait for it to be loaded onto the actual cargo ship, and then they could wait for the cargo ship to go back out to sea and then exit the crate and kind of surprise attack anyone who might be on the cargo ship. So it's kind of this new stowaway functionality that's being baked into this event as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah, basically the cargo ship shows up, it stops at the port, the bridge closes behind it, and an 8 minute timer starts. And during that 8 minutes, the two cranes will load four total cargo containers onto the ship, and then the ship will exit the port the opposite way it came in. So it'll just kind of keep moving out of the harbor and carry on its merry way. So definitely an interesting new dynamic to this server event. And also the updated harbors look really cool. There's a lot more places to hide. There's a lot more going on, and just it's just a cool change to see. And also, I think the tugboat spawns are a little more interesting now as well. They're still spawning at the harbor. And yeah, it's just an interesting addition to the cargo ship event and improvements to the harbor monument. Now, again, we're going to keep an ear and an eye out for this cargo ship, ideally showing up on the map sometime soon. We tried changing the day to get that to like catalyze the event to happen, but that didn't work. So hopefully it'll just show up and we can show that off to y'all here. And again, if anyone has an idea on how to make this happen on the fly, I'm all ears because it would be much nicer for taking pictures and for testing to not have to wait for this thing to just show up. But anyway, that is the harbor monument changes and the cargo ship event. Now, also, what has just made its way in earlier today is the new tool cupboard skin. And this is the first of its kind tool cupboard skin. And this is also apparently coming next week. I think this probably will be an item store item, if I had to guess. I think this is going to be a paid item, but don't know for 100% sure. We'll keep you posted on that. But it is pretty cool. This new tool cupboard skin has some actual utility to it where it's got a couple screens on the front. And with it, you can not only see the upkeep time left, you can see it scroll through the various resources required for upkeep and the amount that is in there. And then it also even has a count for the number of building blocks attached to the tool cupboard, which is a metric I don't think we've been able to see before. So you can see the building blocks and the amount of doors scrolling through on this visual screen as well. You can only see this information if you're authorized on the cupboard. If you're not authorized on the cupboard, then the screens are just blank. But once you auth up, then you can just walk up to the cupboard and you can see all this information that previously you couldn't see on the front of the tool cupboard. So that's pretty cool, and apparently is also coming in with the update next week. Now, also, I want to take a moment to talk about anti cheat and EAC. Now, if you've been joining us for the past couple weeks, you might know I've been, especially in the past couple weeks, a little vocal about my point of view of EAC and the job they are doing or not doing. We even had the pleasure of having one of my 60-second clips put up on Reddit last week, which is always interesting to see. I talk for an hour here each week, and to see 60 seconds of it taken and put on Reddit and then be upvoted is an interesting experience. But I'm fine with it. I'm speaking my mind, and I will continue to speak my mind. Now, thankfully, I actually have seen improvements this week with the AC. Can you believe it? I've actually seen improvements with the EAC. And we've known that FacePunch and EAC are working together on the back end to improve this stuff. But it's one thing to hear that they're working on it. It's another thing to see these improvements. And I'm very happy to say in the past week, I've not only seen some brand new accounts that clearly are hacking, clearly are related to previous bans and previous cheating accounts. I've seen those accounts get flagged and banned by EAC quicker. Now, not all of them, mind you, but I've at least seen a couple, which is an improvement way beyond what I've seen previous weeks. On top of that, we've also seen a ban wave, at least one ban wave, go through with a bunch of higher hour accounts getting nabbed for cheating by EAC. So that's awesome. And I do want to acknowledge EAC and FacePunch for the work they're doing and the improvements they're making. Now, there's definitely still work to be done. It's definitely not where I'd be comfortable saying, oh, cheating's no longer a problem in the game because EAC is just on their shit. It's not quite there yet. But an improvement is an improvement and worth the acknowledgement. Now, what Alistair said on his post on X, along with summarizing what functionality and features are coming in the update next week, he did say specifically a lot of work is being done behind the scenes on anti cheat. Over the past and coming months, we've slowly been closing information leaks such as networking health, items, stashes, auth lists, and more. We've fixed several long standing cheat features. Expanding the support team has allowed us to get more staff support focusing on anti cheat, which includes going in game and dealing with and disrupting cheaters directly based on reports. Some staff will soon be dedicated to anti cheat measures full time. Hot damn, Face Punch. Hot damn, Alistair. Good to hear. Full time people working on anti cheat is exactly what we need, because we've been trying to get full time people just to work as moderators to combat these guys. But we're basically, it's been like fighting a forest fire with a garden hose. You know, it's you put a couple flames out here and there, and then by the time you turn around, there's a bunch more flames. So to see Facepunch and EAC actually making improvements, and specifically to see Facepunch hiring people to keep track of reports and work full time on removing cheaters from the game is, well, it's just a sigh of relief over here. Now, again, there's still, of course, improvements to be made, and I will be tracking and sharing with you my thoughts on these improvements over the next several weeks and months. But I am happy to say we're seeing changes, we're seeing improvements, and I firsthand this past week did see EAC take actions that previously they wouldn't have been taking. So good to see. And yeah, I'll keep you posted as more comes to light on that. Now, also, there's a bunch of other stuff coming with the update next week. As you might have seen if you've been tracking development over the past couple of weeks, there's a bunch of improvements to electricity coming in. They went through all these smaller electrical devices and got rid of a bunch of this phantom drain stuff. In fact, they made it so many of these small splitters and things like that don't require any power usage at all anymore. And that's going to make for larger electrical systems to be a lot easier and a lot more reasonable to provide power to. And on top of getting rid of the phantom drains and getting rid of a lot of the power requirements of these smaller things, there's also the upcoming IO snapping functionality, which is pretty cool. And this is for electrical and industrial components, I believe. When you're mounting them on a wall, you can hold left click and it will, or I'm not left click, left shift, I should say, and it will kind of snap either horizontally or vertically related to the items that are close to the wall. So it basically should allow you to be able to put stuff on the walls a lot cleaner and keep everything in line without having to pixel by pixel eyeball it like before. And of course, if you want to have all this shit just all sloppy doppy up on your wall, you can still do that. Just don't hold left shift and you can free place it wherever you like. But it is very nice to see this IO snapping come in as well. But even more so, it's great to see these electrical components that previously would require one power or whatever, and the amount that that would add up as you're building a system out, to see those not require any power anymore is really nice. There's also some tweaks coming into the attack helicopter AI. This is something that I believe we saw worked on last month and then didn't quite make it in. But my understanding of it is that the AI is just going to be a little more dynamic with regards to how it aggroes on things when it's patrolling. It's going to patrol in a slightly more dynamic fashion. The rocket volleys that it shoots off are going to be uh, a little more variable as far as sometimes more rockets, sometimes less rockets. And then also, apparently, when the attack helicopter is coming down, it's going to have a little bit more variability with how it actually crashes to the ground. So, overall, just some tweaks to the attack helicopter coming in for the update next week. There's also some new world models coming in for seeds. I actually haven't tested this. Are we seeing seed world models now? If we drop some seeds on the ground?
Let's take a look. Not
Not
yet.
yet. Yeah. Okay. Not yet. Well, we'll see if the seeds world model comes in. But I mean, when we're talking about all the stuff that's coming in the update, seed world models, we could wait another month, I feel like. Also, in the realm of world models, there's apparently going to be a new burlap sack model for heads. And so when you're dropping a head on the ground, it apparently will be a bloody burlap sack instead of the normal burlap sack. That also does not appear to be merged in as of yet, but we'll keep you posted. There's also more work on a military flamethrower coming in. Now, I'm not sure if this is confirmed to come in for the update next week, but it's definitely in process, and I think we'll see it soon. Now, I believe, based on the commits, that this military flamethrower is not going to be a player controlled item. I think it's actually going to be an NPC controlled weapon. So we'll keep you posted, but at some point in the future, it seems like, be it if you're taking oil rig or various other places on the map, you might have a flamethrower coming at your face when you're countering some NPCs. So that should be interesting. And then there's also finally some more work on bikes, which is going to be one of the new vehicles coming into the game. Facepunch even posted a little preview on X of the bike progress, which it's it's coming along nice. It's looking good. I think it's ready to go personally. I don't think we need to
Yeah.
change anything. And they did a video of it going across the terrain, and yeah, it looks like totally good to go. Um, but the bike is being worked on, and there's also apparently going to be a sidecar for the bike as well. So I believe the bike itself will only allow one person to mount on it. And then you might have a sidecar option where you could get a buddy in the sidecar who could defend and shoot as you're roaming around the plains of Rust in your new motorbike. Very stylish, very stylish. But we'll keep you posted as more comes to light on that. I don't believe the motorbikes are going to be coming in for the update next week, as although they do look pretty close to ready to go, I don't think they're going to be quite there. But yeah, that is about what's going on in the update. Once again, we are 1 week from the update and Force Wipe. It's going to be coming out April 4th at the regular scheduled time. Now, also, EU, or I should say UK, is doing the daylight savings time thing this week, right?
31st.
Yeah.
On the 31st. Okay, cool. So, yeah, the times should be synced up again between US and EU because US did the daylight savings time a couple weeks ago and we've been a little off, but it should be back to regular times, which would be 2 p.m. EST, 7 p.m. Was that going to be BST then?
Yep, that's right.
Cool. All right. Yeah, time. It's one of those things that I struggle with. But anyway, that is set for next week at regular scheduled time. We'll see this update come out. It will force a map wipe across the board. No sign of a forced blueprint wipe. Well, once again, Rustafied servers, many do choose to wipe blueprints when the update hits. The exception being medium threes, long threes, and ZenLab servers do not wipe blueprints unless Facepunch forces it. But yeah, that's about what's going on in development. Miss D, we got any questions from the audience?
Yes, we do have some. Is it a force wipe today?
Nope, no forced wipe today. Some servers are wiping with their regular schedule. The Rustified servers wiping are the weekly Thursday wipe servers. So that's your mains, smalls, solo, and Zen Labs. But the forced wipe is not until next week, 1 week from today on April 4th at 2 p.m. Eastern. So basically, 1 week and half an hour from now is when the update and forced wipe will be expected out.
Is it possible to get to the rig in one of those small boats? When I got into the big waves, I went underwater and was like, nope, screw this.
Um,
Which kind of small boat we talking? From what I know,
yeah.
yeah, it's possible to get to rig in anything. It's just you do have to be careful of the waves since they changed it, of course. But
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a chance that the minigun will end up being something you can craft, but maybe it'll be something that you must find?
It's unknown at the moment. As it stands now, how they've started implementing the minigun was basically by copying the HMLMG item. And so as it stands now, the minigun can be researched and crafted, and the craft price is the same as the HMLMG. I don't expect that to change. This very much looks like a military grade weapon. I wouldn't surprise me at all if you can't craft it at the end of the day. It is a two-parter too, because along with the minigun itself, you're going to need an ammo backpack to supply the ammo, and I believe those are both going to be required before the minigun will operate. As it stands now, it's very much a work in progress though, so all we can do is spawn in the minigun. It does spawn in with 300 rounds of 5.56 in it, we cannot reload it even with the ammo backpack connected and ammo in it. The reload just doesn't seem to be working at the moment, but that's not a huge surprise because it was just merged in earlier today. So we're going to keep you posted on this minigun because it's definitely an interesting new item. As it stands now, it's a friggin' beast and it'll just mow down whatever you want. But will it go into the game like that? Is more recoil stuff needed? It's definitely a work in progress. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a whole bunch more changes to this minigun prior to it going live in the game next week.
Can you use Explo ammo for the minigun?
As it stands now, you cannot, but that's just because the reload functionality isn't working, I believe. Once again, you can put ammo in the ammo backpack, but when you try to reload the thing, it just won't reload. This is just a function of it not being fully coded yet. Given it is shooting 5.56 ammo, I imagine once it's going into production, you will be able to use any type of 5.56. But as it stands now, the functionality isn't there, so we can't say definitively one way or another.
Um, is there going to be a need for a green card to get up on to the third floor on Ulrich from the moon pool?
It doesn't look like there's any cards required at the moment. As it stands, when you go into the moon pool and you get up in there, you can see the tube, which goes up vertically. And the tube has an entrance at the moon pool. It has an entrance, or I guess exit. It has a door. Let's just call it a door. It has a door at the moon pool. It has a door to the outside at the water level. And then it has one more door up which will get you out at the level 3 of the oil rig. But as it stands now, those doors are not lockable or anything like that. You just open and close them as you wish, and any player can open or close the door. But there's no sign of a puzzle requirement, a keycard requirement, or anything like that.
I see someone is asking if we could try and take down the heli with the minigun.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Let's
Yeah.
give it a shot. But also keep in mind the damage stats, the recoil, all this shit is not set now. So anything you see here today, take it very much with a grain of salt because it's all very likely to change prior to the update actually coming out next week.
Will the harbor change? Blah. Will the harbor change how tugs are spawned?
I don't believe it's changing how the tugs respawn. It is changing some of the placement because the harbor was reworked, so it's laid out differently, and we are seeing the tugs now spawn based on the new layout of the harbor. That said, I don't believe it's changing anything about how many tugs spawn or the timing in which they spawn. It's just kind of a new layout, so some new placement.
Sorry, Bugs. The call to me heli. Is it heli call to me to get it
Yeah, I think
straight
it's
here?
heli.call to me. Let me look real quick.
Sweet.
Sometimes
Thank you.
these things have like a number two, and then other
Right.
times they don't.
No.
So let me look
I
real
think
quick.
it will be number, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's actually not a number. It's heli dot, and I just called it heli dot call to me one word, and that should bring one in here.
Okay, next question. Are they also going to update the berry models?
I imagine it seems like they're slowly over time doing work on all world models for every item in the game and slowly phasing out that, classic burlap sack. But we sometimes have, a couple months where we see a bunch of world models changed and then we might not see any changed for a couple months. But in the grand scheme of things, I do believe we will have world models for pretty much every item you can carry.
If you could roll back to 2016 and 17 Rust, would you do that?
No, no, I wouldn't.
And also, when you get a chance, Artemis, can you show the minigun firing at night?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, you can see some tracers and stuff, get a sense for it.
Does cupboard took I'll try again. Took
It's okay, Misty.
oh
You'll
my
get there.
god.
We believe in you.
Tool covers have the same dimensions with stock.
Uh, yeah, it looks roughly the same size, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It
Yeah,
does.
for sure.
Yep, yep. Mm, let's do a recap, and then after we can do more questions.
Cool. And still no sign of that cargo ship, huh?
Not yet. No.
I'm gonna set it 1 day forward just in case, because maybe that'll have it happen. Because I would love to show the cargo ship at harbor. It's a finicky guy when it comes to spawning in. But in the meantime, we'll do a little recapity cap here. We are 1 week from the update in Force Wipe, and we're over here on the normal staging branch. And boy, is there a bunch of new stuff over here on the staging branch. First and foremost, as you can see, my colleague here firing the minigun at the patrol helicopter. And that minigun is a new item in the game. As of this morning, it was merged into staging. It is still very much a work in progress. So there is a lot unknown about it. We don't have finalized damage stats. We don't have any finalized crafting or even, where you're going to get it information. And even the reload of it doesn't work. But what it does have is 300 rounds in each magazine, so to speak. I guess a minigun doesn't have a magazine, but it holds 300 rounds before you have to reload. I'll just put it that way. Sorry, I'm not a gunsmith. But you got 300 rounds of 5.56 to burn through, and boy, can you burn through them pretty quick because the fire rate is pretty damn high. Now, to actually fire this guy, you hold the right mouse button to start the barrel spinning, and then once the barrel is spinning sufficiently, you can hold the left mouse button to start that bullet barrage and let it rip. And so with this comes a backpack for the ammo. And this is another thing that isn't quite in the game yet is the actual reload functionality of this. So it looks like based on what we're seeing, you're going to need a backpack, the ammo backpack with the minigun, and you'll need both of those things, and you'll need to fill up the backpack with 5.56 ammo, and then you'll be able to roam around and just obliterate whatever. So a lot is unknown here. At the moment, it's not slowing down your speed or anything based on what we're seeing. I think it might make sense to slow down the speed of this or give some downsides to this, but we will see. Once again, it was just merged into staging earlier today, and so there's a lot of work to be done potentially before it's ready for prime time next week. But nevertheless, Alistair did make a post on X saying that the minigun was coming in next week. Along in that post, he verified a couple other things that are coming in next week, including the new harbors and the new cargo ship event. Now, with that, the harbor has been reworked. There's a new layout which has kind of some separation to it where the cargo ship is able to now dock in the harbor and spend some time there. And that's basically what we're seeing when the cargo ship comes out and makes its appearance. It makes its way over to one of the harbors. There is like kind of a drawbridge there that kind of rotates open as the cargo ship is incoming. Then the cargo ship comes into that docking area in the middle and pauses for about 8 minutes. Now, during that 8 minutes, what it's doing is loading some containers, basically, some shipping containers. So the cranes nearby, there's two cranes that appear to be operational, and what they'll do is they'll pick up some shipping containers that are at the harbor. You can actually, as a player, enter these shipping containers. I'm not sure if they're always red or sometimes they change. When I was testing last night, it was the red shipping containers, but you can actually open these shipping containers when they're on the ground at harbor. You can get in them and then close the door and kind of hide in them. And if you time it right, you can kind of hide in one of these shipping containers, have it loaded onto the cargo ship, and have the cargo ship take off again with you hiding in there. So you can kind of stow away on the cargo ship with this new functionality. So once it docks, once again, 8 minutes during that time, two cranes will load a total of four cargo containers. Now, I believe that's just the first step of this event. I think after that, and I haven't confirmed this because I'm sorry, I didn't have the time, but I believe it's going to go up to the other harbor, if there is another harbor on the map, and unload those container ships or those containers that were loaded. I think that's it. I'm going to try to get confirmation of that this week, but that would make sense, right? If it loads on some, it would unload at the other harbor potentially. But anyway, after 8 minutes, the cranes are done doing what they're doing, and the cargo ship will just take off the opposite way it came and continue on its merry way, floating around the island of Rust. So there are still the recyclers at harbor. I don't know if we can point those out real quick where the recycler is, but there is still a recycler at harbor, and I'll make sure to include a picture of where that is on my article next week as well, so that you can see where you're going if you want to go to harbor to recycle. But it's an interesting new event. It's a great rework of the harbors. I think there's a lot more to do. There's a lot more places to hide, and just a lot more interesting things to make the harbor just a more dynamic place. And then on top of just the layout changes, there's the cargo ship that comes in. So that's a cool new thing with a server event interacting with the monument like that. And that is expected to come in with the update next week. Now, also along the same lines of monument reworks, we've got the changes to oil rigs. And specifically, this is not quite as drastic as the harbor change, but what they have added to each oil rig is a moon pool and a vertical tube you can climb up from the moon pool to get into the oil rig in a new fashion that wasn't available before. So once you enter the moon pool through diving or through a submarine, the idea being that you can sneakily get onto the oil rig in a way you couldn't before. And then you get into the moon pool, and then you can go up the vertical tube. There is a door at the moon pool, then there's a door 2 levels up at the water level, then there's a door a couple more levels up at the level 3 of the oil rig. So just a new point of ingress when it comes to capturing the oil rig. Then we have the minigun, which I discussed, still a work in progress, still subject to change, but does look like it is coming into the update next week. Also going on, we've got the new tool cupboard skin. I should say the first tool cupboard skin coming into the game next week. This tool cupboard skin does have visuals on the front of it. It's the same size and everything of the normal tool cupboard, but once you are authorized, you can actually see some information on the front of it, which is pretty cool. The specifically information you can see is the upkeep time. You can see the amounts of each resource, and then you can also even see the amount of building blocks and doors and such that you have on the actual building that it is protecting. So that's a pretty cool new tool cupboard skin. You can still lock it, of course. It still functions just like the normal tool cupboard, but it just has this cool new visual, kind of akin to the vending machine screens on the front of it, which is always cool. And I don't know for sure, but I have a sneaky suspicion that this will be available for purchase on the item store when the update comes out next week. I don't think this is going to be available for everyone in the game. I think it will be an item that you purchase on the item store like you purchase other skins. But it has some cool new functionality and a cool look to it. So good stuff with that new tool cupboard skin. Also, real quick, on top of the post that Alistair made, which summarizes the features and functionality that are going to be coming into the update next week, he did make some comments on anti cheat. Specifically, what he said, I'll read it again because I think it's important. He said, a lot of work is being done behind the scenes on anti cheat. Over the past and coming months, we've slowly been closing information leaks such as networking health, items, stashes, auth lists, and more. We've fixed several long standing cheat features. Expanding the support team sizes has allowed us to get more staff focusing on anti cheat, which includes going in game and dealing with and disrupting cheaters. I hope disrupting means just banning them. I like that should just mean banning, right? Okay. But going in game and dealing with and disrupting cheaters directly based on player reports. Some staff will soon be dedicated to anti cheat measures full time. And hot damn, full time people working at Facepunch on anti cheat is something that I think we've needed for years. I am happy to say, after my rants the past couple of weeks about EAC and its doing a shitty job, I'm very happy to say that personally I have seen EAC doing more this past week. I've seen them a couple times. I've gotten a report for a brand new account that only has like an hour or two in game, was first seen like 4 hours ago. And before I was able to get to it, EAC, would you believe it, actually banned them. And that's something that we weren't seeing very much of in the past. Very often, it would take days or weeks for EAC to actually take action, even on the most obvious of players. And we're seeing that action being taken a little quicker now, which is nice to see. On top of that, we did see at least one, but maybe more ban wave come through with a number of higher our accounts being banned as well. So that's also awesome. So there's definitely still work to be done in the realm of anti cheat and EAC specifically. But I am very happy to see some improvements. I'm very happy to share with you that I'm seeing some improvements. And I'm most happy to hear from Alistair and the devs at Facepunch that not only are they working on it behind the scenes, but they're bringing on more actual staff to work on it full time, because given the scale of this issue, as in the other year they banned 800,000 plus accounts, that was 2022. We didn't even get the number for 2023 on how many accounts they banned. I don't know if that's just they forgot to share it or it was so fucking damning that they were like, we're not going to share it now. But it's all to say it's been a huge issue for years. So to see them bringing on people to work full time on this and to see them closing up leaks that have long existed that help cheaters do the cheating, all very awesome to see. And I will keep you posted just on my personal experience going forward in the next couple of weeks and months on how these improvements are impacting us on a moderation level and how we're seeing like levels of cheaters in the game and everything like that. So very excited about those improvements, and shout out to Alistair and the whole team at Facepunch for prioritizing this and actually putting their money where their mouth is and bringing people on to just focus on this 100%, because I think that's the only thing that can be done at this point to get this problem under control. So good stuff. In the realm of other stuff coming in the update next week, we've got a bunch of electricity improvements coming in. If you've been tracking development for the month, you'll know that a lot of the smaller electrical items like the splitters and combiners and stuff will no longer require any energy usage to run. On top of that, they did get rid of a bunch of phantom drain issues with various different elements of the electrical systems. And in total, what this should do is allow you as a player to create much more advanced electrical devices without having to have so much power draw and everything like that. And then finally, in the realm of electricity, and also I believe it's for the industrial stuff, there is the IO snapping coming in as well, where you can, as you're placing an item on a wall, you can hold left shift and it will automatically align either horizontal, horizontally or vertically to elements already mounted on the wall. So you can get nice lined up things going. Also, coming in the update next week, there are some tweaks to the attack helicopter AI. We're going to try to test this a little bit in the coming week and see if we can get some specifics. But I believe it's just like there's a variable amount of rockets in the rocket barrage now, and it's going to be a little more dynamic with how it's going from monument to monument and how it's aggroing on people. And then also when the health is at zero and the attack helicopter or the patrol helicopter is coming down, it I believe will be crashing in a more dynamic fashion, if that makes sense. There's also some new world models coming in. They aren't on staging yet, but it looks like they're being worked on for world models for seeds. And also, if you drop a head, it's going to have a bloody burlap sack instead of that normal burlap sack. As I mentioned before, the new tool cupboard or the first tool cupboard skin is coming in next week. probably available on the item store. There's also a military flamethrower, which may be making its way in, but all signs point to this is going to be an NPC controlled weapon. So I don't think players are going to be running around with this military flamethrower. I think it is just going to be for maybe some heavy scientists or something like that. And then finally, and I don't think this is coming in for the update next week, but they are doing more work on bikes. These are going to be motorbikes, a new vehicle type in the game. They even did a sneak peek on X, which showed the current model of the bike and how it is, uh, let's say, managing the terrains of Rust. Um, I don't think it's coming in for the update next week. Let's just leave it at that. But it is an exciting new feature to the game, and I imagine we might see these motorbikes come in for the update. What's that going to be? May or maybe later. So we'll keep you posted as always. And with that, that's about the recapity cap. Misty, we've got any more questions before we wind this puppy down?
Yes, we do. But Artemis, two things. Can you try to shoot at a wall so they can see the spray pattern? And then also try the nighttime shooting?
Ah, yeah, for sure. No worries.
Thank you. Uh,
And also, I
and
just got notice from one of my senior mods that another ban wave from EAC just came through earlier today. So more good signs when it comes to anti-cheat. I know I got clipped last week saying EAC needs to do their fucking job, and I was swearing a lot, and it was like the 60 seconds of probably the most swears I've said in 60 seconds in a while that got clipped. But I am very happy to say it does look like there are improvements coming to anti-cheat and EAC as a whole, and we did see another ban wave come through earlier today. So let's keep those ban waves coming. Let's keep those bans going, and let's see Facepunch and EAC really tackle this cheater situation in a way we haven't seen in the past 10 years. I'm all for that.
can you put the minigun in an auto turret?
I would test that for you. Yeah, I doubt it, to be
Yeah, we
honest.
can try, but I highly doubt it.
What happened to Bradley Ring Road event?
I think that was kind of accomplished through the end of wipe events that they've added, where Bradley just spawns randomly around the map. I don't think necessarily we'll ever see Bradley fully traversing Ring Road on normal occasions. But I'm really not sure. I haven't really seen anything specifically about that event recently. So, if anything, it's deep, deep in the concept limbo bucket.
Can you add attachments to the minigun?
It does have slots for attachments, but I don't know if any of them are functioning at the moment or if that will be when it finally comes through. I think very much of this minigun is just a work in progress. And yeah, and I don't know exactly what it's going to look like when it goes live in the game next week.
Uh, is the minigun craftable?
At the moment, the minigun is craftable, but that's only because what they did to implement the minigun, from what we can see, is basically copied the HMLMG item and then started adding the model and different features on that HMLMG. So as it stands, the crafting for the minigun is exactly the same cost as the HMLMG, which I imagine is not going to be the case going forward. And in fact, I'd be kind of surprised if you can craft this minigun. It looks to me, seems to me like one of those harder to obtain things that you'll either get out of Bradley crates if you're lucky, or maybe purchase for a lot of scrap. I don't know. We'll have to keep you posted.
Do you think we'll ever be able to customize our character?
I don't know. I thought for a long, long time that that wouldn't be an option at all. Mainly because when people ask Gary way back in the day when they first started adding, like originally everyone in Rust was just this bald white guy, right? And then they added a couple of variations of other guys, and then they added female characters as well. And during that time, everyone was like, "Wow,
I'm so
that's
sorry. I thought
I
you
just
yeah,
like,
paused. So you bent down. I thought you
no,
orced.
so that's working."
For now, but I wouldn't get carried away with that at all, to be honest, because as I say, the minigun is a complete work in progress at the moment. Even the
Yeah,
attachments that I added, they're not behaving as you'd expect either. So yeah, we'll say that's a work in progress.
yeah.
But yeah, it's in
We'll
there for now.
we'll
you're
get back to you
growing.
next week on that on that auto turret thing. Yeah.
Okay,
Anyway, what the hell was I saying? I don't know. Just ask me another question.
okay, let's do it. Can you just shoot the minigun from the mini heli?
As a passenger, I would
Probably.
imagine
As
so.
a passenger, probably.
Yeah.
Now, will you be able to? Is that arguably too big of a gun to operate from the passenger? Maybe. Once again, all this stuff is a work in progress. So, really, any question you ask about the minigun or any of this stuff, we can only give you our sense of it or how it's operating now, but how it is in game is very much known as a work in progress. So really nothing is going to be finalized until we're basically at this point next week. And as always, we do a article on rustified.com every Thursday. It goes live first thing midnight Eastern time on Thursday, which summarizes everything going on in development in text and pictures. And then also we're here every Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern, to give either an update preview stream like this week, or next week we'll just have an update stream where we'll go through everything that is coming in the update and what you as a player need to know. So unfortunately, a lot is unknown as of this week, but next week we should have some more finalized information for you.
Also, the numbers under the hotbars was mentioned last week. Is there an option to turn that off?
Yeah, I'm not aware of that. I feel like something was done with that, but I'm blanking on it. I'm sorry, I got a lot of brain fog this week, so my short-term memory is shit.
Um,
And
Only
I
this
haven't
week?
actually seen anything, but it was something we was talking about. We hoped for just for the sake of being able to turn it
yeah,
off. But I haven't actually seen anything.
and that would really make sense because it's like I don't need those numbers there. Who needs those numbers there? I know that's slot 3, you know?
Yep.
Oh, they're saying it turns on
See.
when you do the tutorial. Maybe that's it.
Uh, can you also use it in the attack mini heli? Like
Um,
mountable?
as it stands now, probably because we were able to put the minigun in the auto turret, and so it would make sense that you could put one in the auto turret on the attack. But I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case for next week. I'm not
Yeah, exactly.
confident that the minigun is going to be a turretable device, but we'll have to wait and see.
So I'd say Shadow. Can we see Brad NPCs again? Thanks.
Oh,
Who's
and
Shadow?
Oh
apparently
yeah, yeah.
user interface show belt bar binds. It is an option in the game now. So cool. Thanks for that clarification in chat.
Did you hear that last one?
Yep. Bradley NPCs.
Yes. But I think that's the questions we had for now.
And yeah, and to just run through what that Bradley NPC event is, basically now the Bradley, once it's hit with about 4 rockets, will have a big puff of smoke. Out of that puff of smoke, we'll see 4 blue scientist NPCs popping out of there to help protect Bradley. Now, this appears to be the case for not only the launch site Bradleys, but also the Bradleys that spawn around the map at the end of Wipe event. We'll get clarification on that as we get into next week, but basically, yeah, you can see that puff of smoke happen, and then you see 4 blue scientists come out and start fighting you alongside of Bradley, and that's part of the new Bradley event.
Is there any news on high call buildings?
Nope, nothing on building skins really at all this year. Last year, I think, was the year of building skins, and originally the what was it? The what do they call the sad Icelandic one? See, I'm having total brain fog this week. I don't know what's going on. What do they call that? Not the tribalist, the fucking
Brutalist? Which one are we talking about? So,
brutalist.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. Yeah. The that that skin was originally going to be a high quality skin, but then it got downgraded to a stone skin. And I think that was just mainly because, I mean, it looked like a stone skin more than it looked like a high qual skin. But that was the closest we've gotten to any high quality building skins. And then I think after last year, when they released a bunch of those building skins, and some people were kind of complaining that the focus was off, I think they have shifted their focus this year to work more on the reworking of monuments and improving things that already exist in the game. So I'm not sure we're going to see any building skins in the form of a DLC or otherwise this year. I could be wrong, but based on the commits and what I've heard, I haven't heard any progress on a high qual building skin. Oh,
Yeah,
and the
someone.
character model changes. That's the thing that I was talking about. I got distracted with the auto turret, but back in the day, they added new character models, and everyone was like, "Can you change your character model?" And Gary was like, "Well, you can't choose your character model in real life, so why would you be able to choose it in game?" Now, I think maybe there was some. I don't know if I fully agree with that logic, but it did have me come to the conclusion that probably no, we won't be able to change our character skin. But then I think there was some maybe subtle mention I recall of them considering it. So it's all to say maybe, but I wouldn't hold your breath.
Just saw one come in here. Will there be any changes to progression this year?
Very possible, but I'm not aware of any specifically that are planned at this moment.
I think that's it.
Yeah, and we're just over an hour here, so I think we will wind this puppy down. I do want to take a moment to thank you all so much for tuning in. A lot of people think we're on the Facepunch payroll or we're the actual developers of the game, and neither of those are correct. We're actually just an independent organization who loves reporting on development news and running the best servers that we possibly can. And the only way that we can do that week after week, month after month, year after year, we've been doing this 10 years now. And the only way we've been able to do that is through the support and because of the support from our community. So, to all of you who tune in and watch, to people who give bits and subscribe on Twitch, and to our wonderful, beautiful, loyal VIP customers, thank you all so much because without you, we wouldn't be able to do this. And also, a huge thank you to my co MCs. As always, Miss D and Artemis, thank you for joining me.
You're welcome.
Yep, you're welcome as always.
And yeah, with that, we're going to wind this puppy down. We will be back next week for just an update stream. We'll show off everything coming in the update and let you know when the update goes live. It's going to be same time, same place, 1 p.m. Eastern next week here on Twitch. And stay tuned on Rustafied.com first thing Thursday for an article summarizing the whole update in text and pictures. Also, follow us on X. We'll be doing some shorts that show off new things coming into the staging branch as they hit. And yeah, with that, I hope you all have a wonderful week and a wonderful wipe. This is Bugs signing off.